Thanks for coming, everybody. Before we get started today, I just want to give a little disclaimer that because of the ages and the seriousness of this case, I'm very limited in the amount of details I'm able to and willing to talk about. We will give you what we can, but there is stuff that we will retain. On the 18th of September, about 9:45, 10 o'clock, the school made us aware of some anonymous communication that they had received that involved some of their students. We went out to the school, talked to the student as well as the student's parents, and found out that there was merit to these allegations. We conducted an investigation, which included multiple search warrants and multiple interviews on a lot of different people over the last few days. Those interviews and search warrants have culminated in some charges that I'll tell you about now. We have charged the following people with sex abuse second degree, felony assault, and robbery in the first degree. We have charged Morgan Huff, 18, Ritter Stahlbaum, 17, Caden Dishman, 15, and Noah Lamar, 15. While all of these are Johnston school students, I want to impress on you that this event did not happen at the school and did not happen at a school-sponsored event anywhere. I'll take some of your questions.
Do you know what day the actual incident happened? Because I know it was reported to you guys on the 18th, but what day did this actually happen?
It happened September 8th of 17 between 6 and 10 o'clock at night.
Are there any details of what actually happened that you can tell us?
I'm not going to give specifics as it relates to the charges.
Can you tell us kind of the circumstances, what they were all maybe doing there, or kind of what led up to that?
I can't.
You said there was some sort of anonymous communication. Was that from was the victim talking to people at the school? When you say anonymous, did it like Snapchat or something like that? Like what, can you go into a little more detail about what the anonymous communication was?
It was a tip that was sent to the school anonymously and then immediately forwarded to us.
Okay.
Can you tell us the extent of the victim's injuries?
I'm not going to go, and I'm really going to not say anything about the victim. Our victim, as our release said, is 15 years old, and I want to protect our victim as much as possible. I'm sure you can understand that.
Can you say what led up to this incident, or how those people all knew each other, if they knew each other before the incident?
Well, they do all go to school together, so they do know each other that way, and they have interacted with each other in the past. But as far as exactly what happened that night and why they were together, I'm not going to get into.
And then, one of the charges is first-degree robbery, right?
One of the charges is, yes.
So does that mean that there was a weapon involved in the situation?
I'm not going to get into the specifics of the case. You can look at the Iowa Code and read what robbery first says and make your own assessment of that. But as it applies to this case, I'm not going to get into those specifics.
Where were they arrested this morning?
They were arrested at school this morning.
We have heard that there may potentially be video of this incident. Can you confirm that?
I'm not going to confirm that at this time.
We're seeing that 2 were booked into the Polk County Jail, 2 at juvenile facility. So are the 2 that are in the juvenile facility, are they going to be tried as adults in this case or not?
That will be determined later. Given their age, they're not what we call direct file. And the 17-year-old was taken down to, Ritter Stahlbaum was taken down to Polk County Courthouse and taken in front of a judge, and he was then booked into the Polk County Jail after that, along with the 18-year-old.
So even though the 17, he will be charged as an adult?
Correct.
Can you talk a little bit about just the investigation that, on the police end, that you guys had to do was it a challenging investigation because you're working off an anonymous communication? Just kind of the logistics you guys had to do to make sure you had all your ducks in a row.
They're serious charges. We have a responsibility to the victim, we have a responsibility to the suspects to make sure that we have, as you said, our ducks in a row before we move forward with charges. We feel very comfortable with these charges, given the information that the detectives had uncovered over the last week or so.
Do you feel confident that can we expect any other charges, any other arrests, any other information coming forward at this point on your guys' end?
I can't answer that at this point. I don't know what the future is going to hold. The case is ongoing. We still have things that we want to do, but we got to a point where we took our information and presented it to the county attorney, and these are the charges that they recommend.
Is it fairly uncommon to see sexual assault cases involving such young people at ages 15? I mean, 18 and 17 I think is more common, but 15 is starting to get pretty young.
It is uncommon. It is uncommon. One thing I want to make clear that we didn't specify in our press release is our victim is male.
And are all the suspects male as well?
Correct.
When you talk about the complexities of juvenile law, you have certain things you have to do, can't do when someone is 15.
When we're doing a juvenile investigation on juveniles or with a juvenile victim, we want to make sure that we try and bring the parents in, and we are limited in the times that we can interview them, who has to be there and such. It does make a case more difficult, but it's not too hard to overcome.
Do you know when these people will make their initial court appearances?
I would assume that the two in Polk County will make theirs tomorrow morning, given the time they were booked in. I think court was done there already. And the juvenile ones, I'm not sure. That process is completely different down there.
Okay.
And then in terms of, again, the situation, can you tell us at all how the robbery may fit into this case at all?
I can't. I would like to, but unfortunately it would get into specifics of the case, and I said we're not going to discuss that.
So, like, you can't even provide them just, like, basic probable cause for each charge?
If you take a look at our complaint and affidavits, which you, as public record, you'll be able to see that. I don't think I have a copy of them up here to even read them to you, but that can be provided to you.
Okay, thanks.
You said this was serious. This seems fairly unusual happening for a high school and these ages. Can you talk about how unusual this is for Johnston?
It's very unusual. I can't say I've worked another case like this. I've been doing this 15 so years now. I can't say I've worked another case like this.
Is it hard to work a case like this when most of the officers who are working it are probably parents and have children?
Yes.
And maybe children who go to that school?
Yeah, it is. It's a difficult case. I mean, any case like this that you deal with these serious types of charges takes a toll on the officer, and especially ones that deal with kids. We're here to protect the community, and when you get into a more vulnerable part of the community, yes, it does take a toll on our officers.
I have the initial kind of report that said that this happened at a residence. Can you tell us where the parents were at the time that this happened?
I don't have that information with me. You have, I assume now you have the address that it occurred at, or I can provide that to you.
Can we get that? It just says it was out.
Yeah, I
House.
don't have the address.
8818 Highland Oaks Drive, and that is in Johnston.
You said 8818.
Yes.
So you're not sure if the parents were home at the time that this happened?
I don't have that information in front of me. Keep in mind, I'm not the one that investigated the case either.
When the young men were arrested this morning, I would guess that was a tough time for the students at Johnston High School. I would assume efforts are being made to help any of the students at school deal with this, especially anyone who would be a friend of the suspect.
Correct. Counselors have been made available to the kids at the school. We tried to do it with as little impact to the school as possible, and we have been working with the school throughout this to make sure all students' needs are met, along with victims and at that time suspects.
Are you able to comment on the status of those who have been arrested at the school? Are they suspended, immediately expelled? Do you know?
One, I can comment on the status, the conditions of his release were set, which is Ritter Stahlbaum. The conditions are he has a no contact order with our victim. He's not allowed on any Johnston Public School property. He is not allowed unsupervised contact with anyone under the age of 16, and he is not allowed to reside in a house that has weapons. I think it's actually under the age of 18. Not allowed to have contact with anyone under the age of 18. Other questions?
Can you say what was stolen in the robbery?
No.
Okay.
Were those same conditions not made for the 18-year-old suspect?
He has not went in front of a judge first. If you remember that the 17-year-old saw a judge for that direct file, so that's why those conditions were immediately imposed. The other ones, the county attorney will be asking for those conditions on everyone else. They just haven't seen a judge yet to present those conditions.
So is Ritter then, is he out of Polk County Jail?
No.
Okay.
He has to see a judge first since he's 17 for that direct file. The judge will say, yes, he's to be treated as an adult, and then instead of going to Meyer Hall, he would go to Polk County Jail.
Okay, I see.
So that hasn't been decided yet?
That has been decided.
Okay.
Ritter is now in Polk County Jail.
Anything else we're missing you can hit on?
I don't think so. Covered everything that I can release at this time.
These four
Serious
were,
stuff. It's serious stuff.
you had, with these young men that were charged, is this an isolated incident, or should other residents be worried about perhaps a gang or some other activity that's taking place?
Isolated incident.
You said that the woman is under investigation and you weren't sure if other charges could be filed.
Correct.
Are there, I guess, like other potential suspects being investigated?
That's not something I can go into at this time. It'd be inappropriate for me to really comment on that ongoing investigation.
I guess I just meant like should parents be concerned for like if their kids are still going to school, if there's...
We don't have any information that would point to anybody else being a target. Thank you. Appreciate you guys coming out.